Welcome back here with Goldberg. Today I wanted to talk about a request I received, and that is for me to discuss the concept of using game on your wife as a married man. This is just another example of the suppository red pillars attempting to persuade guys that they can somehow maintain this position of dominance and authority even if they sign a marriage contract and enter into more of a permanent union. I understand that they're attempting to help people out, but it really it's colored like that song, run away, but you're cucking in circles. We have to stop trying to cope so much. It may be well-intentioned, but of course there are guys who might make disastrous decisions because they believe what is essentially nonsense. Let's just be real. So game, which is a dubious concept in of itself, holds that because women use manipulation against men, you have to essentially fight fire with fire. You have to manipulate them back and do it better, such that in the push-pull dynamics of a relationship, you remain on top. So, for instance, just something I've found. If I'm dating a chick and she throws a fit, if I go supplicate and try to be, what's the problem, make you feel better, she's going to turn you into a doormat. She's going to expect you to always act that way. And hell, even if she does something really bad, like infidelity, she's going to assume you will take her back because that's your nature. Now, on the flip side, if she behaves in that manner and you simply say, no, fine, leaving, have a nice life or whatever, then within 24 to 48 hours, she'll come crawling back in tears. Daddy Goldberg, oh my God. And that's because you are establishing that you can afford to lose her, but she can't afford to lose you, as opposed to vice versa. So that is an effective dynamic. Of course, in practice, it makes for less stable relationships because you essentially have to act like a couple of overgrown children, extremely capricious, petty, sometimes vindictive. It's how it materializes, whether you want to spin it as somehow being deep emotional intelligence or whatever. At its core, that is what it would be defined by. Now, that in of itself is not a problem. The issue is if you then elect for a legal union that includes the state, and you start cohabitating or common law marriage, and then you have kids. You cannot practically or effectively do what these red pillars are suggesting. And let's just think about it for a second. This whole notion of, you can just kind of neg her, you can do the dread game. So let's suppose that you're spitting mad game at the waitress, and so your wife or your permanent resident, girlfriend, whatever, she becomes offended, and so she decides she's going to withhold sex in order to get one up over you, make you come back begging for forgiveness, trying to smooth things out. And you're like, okay, well then I'm going to have to do my distancing or my dread game. Okay, I suppose so. But now you happen to have a daughter and you're co-parenting. How's that going to work out? So she's really pissed off, the spouse. She comes up to you. Are you going to take the kids to practice? Nope, I'm maintaining frame. You can see how ridiculous that would be. And your kids are going to be in the crossfire of what is a highly toxic and, frankly, as I said, capricious, unstable union of you two trying to jockey for power. It's not something that you are likely to desire that your kids are exposed to. But if you're going to pretend you can practice game, that will be the realistic outcome. How effectively are you going to run a household and have children when you are required to disappear for a day or kick her out of the house in order to maintain this argument? It will not work effectively. In most cases, especially if you have kids, it's going to be disastrous. And that leads us to the other problem, which is that, of course, once you enter into that union, again, whether it's common law or you've signed the contract, she has a lot of power over you that she did not enjoy when you were an 18-year-old dude. Oh, I'm so red-pilled. I ingest them in every different orifice. she has a lot of advantages. You know, you've got the kids, you've got the fact that you have the same dwelling, the fact that you, whether you've signed a paper or not, effectively you have a legal union. So that's stuff she can use against you. She's not in the situation where she can't afford to lose you, because as we know, she gets pissed off enough, she's going to say, all right, screw you. I'm going to get a divorce. And you'll be sitting there like, only know the light when it's burning low. Only feel the alimony when you let her go. And that's just how it's going to work. So, yeah, you can try to spin it as you're red-pilled, you know, you're dominant. It's a bunch of bullcrap, because ultimately you're going to have to make compromises, and you're probably going to end up wrapped around her finger to maintain the union for the sake of your children. You're going to be a simp, and that doesn't necessarily make you a bad person. I'm not mocking you, but if you are in a serious union, you're cohabitating, you have children with a woman, particularly in the Western world, but even in a lot of non-Western countries, it's that way. You are going to end up simping. Okay, let's be real. Most people at some level, they end up doing this. You know, we Jews, we simp for our shekels. White men, they simp for the traditional feminine, virgin shield maiden. And of course, black men love to valiantly rush in defense of their queens. Korean dudes, from what I understand, they've got StarCraft. Other guys on the YouTube.com, they discuss masculinity, they've got their hand. Everyone's simping to a certain extent. You gotta be realistic. But when you get into the vehicle, you get into the atmosphere of a married life, you're gonna be doing it, you know, in overdrive. So accept that fact. These dudes who are telling you you can somehow red pill and MGTOW your red pills and use game in marriage, it's not going to work effectively, because you have obligations to those kids. And frankly, for your own financial and legal well-being, you're going to have to come to terms with her. You can't just walk away whenever it's convenient, because that's not going to fly very well when it comes to the court system.